So far, Juve this season, obviously last year they still won the league title, but Ronaldo had his issues with Sarri. It was clear to see that they didn't necessarily see eye to eye. The football was pretty sterile. And this year, despite the introduction of club legend Andrea Pirlo, it hasn't gone that much better so far. They've only lost one of their 10 games in all competitions, which was a 2-0 loss to Barcelona. But they've only won 5 of those. They are currently unbeaten in the league, and they are 5th, but they're already 4 points behind AC Milan. And one of those wins came against Napoli in an awarded 3-0 victory over coronavirus, and that game is being appealed, so they might have their 3 points taken away. And their underlying numbers, their stats, really aren't that impressive. They suggest that they don't really deserve to be that much higher. They're 8th for shots per game, they're 8th for shots against, 6th for expected goals, 3rd for expected goals against, and rated as the 7th best side overall. And they really need Ronaldo. It's clear to see. I mean, I watched their game against Lazio at the weekend, which I broke down on ERU, so go back and watch that if you want a full breakdown on that. So I'll try not to cover too much. But actually, Juve played pretty well, but it was still an issue of taking advantage of their dominance and putting the ball in the back of the net. I mean, only Ronaldo, with 6, has scored more than 2 league goals this season. And he's taken nearly double the amount of shots as Morata, who's their sort of focal point at the moment. Morata is actually playing well. I thought he was excellent against Lazio. He was turning really effectively. He's actually really quick over 30, 40 metres. And he was bringing others into play really effectively. He didn't actually have a shot, but he was creating chances. He was, dominating the Lazio backline and making space for others. And he's actually operating at 0.96 expected goals and assists per 90 at this early stage of the season, we have to say. But if Ronaldo left, the question I wanted to kind of pose to you guys is, would you back an attack of Morata, who's 28, Dybala, who's 26 and not getting much game time, Chiesa, who's 23, and Kulusevski, who's 20, to win a Champions League anytime soon? I mean, I probably wouldn't. I mean, McCubs, quickly, what do you reckon on that? Could that attack win a Champions League?
Not this season. But I think that's an exciting attack, though. I think... Like we were saying, obviously they're over-reliant on Ronaldo. First of all, I think with Kulusevski and Chiesa coming in, I think that's quite a bit of a draw for Ronaldo to stay, because I think that is quite an exciting attack that could be developing there. Equally, if he were to leave, I think injuries permitting, as long as he stays fit, I think Dybala would just take up that responsibility, wouldn't he? I think we just see his output go up quite a lot more, as we saw, and I think it was 2017-18 when he was being positioned a lot higher than, or he was just kind of taking that centre forward role as opposed to Higuain. I can't remember if it was 17-18 or the season before. I think it was 17-18. Dybala is more than capable of being a 20 to 30 league goal striker. There's no doubt about that. So I think I don't know. I think that I don't think necessarily. I think that's what we saw, is that by getting Ronaldo didn't get Juve anywhere nearer to the Champions League, did it? It literally didn't help them at all in the competition, which says to me that there are other issues other than who is your number one centre forward in terms of winning the Champions League. Juve need to first of all, defensively in the long term, they need to really kind of invest and restructure that back line. I think the midfield as well has been a little bit all over the place the last couple of years, hasn't it? So in some ways, I think that the forward line is perhaps the least of their worries. I think if whether Ronaldo stays or goes, I don't think it actually has that big a bearing on the Champions League, at least on the evidence of the last 2 years.
Fair. Yeah, and also, if you take out Ronaldo's shots, the attack just functions differently. He is a bit of a dead end for their attacks in many ways, because he'll often take the effort on himself rather than playing. There was a great example in the Lazio game where Danilo actually made a fantastic run to his left-hand side, and if he played him in, he could have crossed across to the box to Morata. Instead, Ronaldo cuts inside and gets a shot on target, but a quite unlikely shot to go in. But because Ronaldo's efficiency is generally been so high over the last 5 or 6 years, most people don't really have an issue with him taking 6 shots a game, despite that often leading to the detriment of other players in the team's numbers, at least in terms of raw assists aside, because they are just passing the ball to Ronaldo to then have a long-range effort. But bringing up Dybala Dybala is interesting actually, because his contract expires in 2022. He's missed 2 games with thigh problems. He's also had COVID this season. And he's only started 3 League and Champions League games this season. And he doesn't really seem to fit in when Ronaldo is fit in Pirlo's system, because Pirlo seems like Morata's his man. And he's been playing either sort of a version of 4-4-2 or 3-4-1-2. And Dybala hasn't really been used as that one behind the strikers when he's been available. Pirlo's seemingly either gone for Kulusevski or Ramsey in that position so far. And Calcio Mercato are reporting that Real Madrid could be interested in a swap deal in January for Vinicius Junior and Isco, which would be absolutely fascinating. I don't think for Dybala going to Real Madrid makes a lot of sense in terms of their system doesn't really fit his skill set necessarily, but maybe a change of scene is exactly what he needs at this stage of his career. If Juve managed to pick up Vinicius, one of the most promising, if slightly inefficient forwards in world football, then I think that's quite a good deal. And then Henry is not a fan of Vinicius.
20 years old.
What does that deal instantly spell to you, Henry? Who do you think is getting the better end of that deal?
I mean, honestly, I think Real Madrid, seriously, I'm not even being funny about that. Dybala's not old in the world of football. I agree with you. I think this season he's been a bit disappointing. I mean, going off, if you remember, we watched that Barcelona game together, Digi, and that was just really, he was almost non-existent in that game. And the problem was him and Kulusevski kept getting caught in the same position. They both like to try and cut back in on that left foot of theirs, and I think they got sussed out pretty quickly by the Barcelona defence. And I add to that, I agree with pretty much everything that McCubbin pointed out by the issues of the Juve squad. But yeah, in terms of that transfer, I genuinely, I think time, unfortunately for Isco, I like Isco. I think Isco's a good player. I think he's been a good player for Real Madrid, considering I don't think he cost them a huge amount of money when he originally came in. But I do think time's running out for him to really do so. He's got to take a look at his career and maybe suggest, do I need a change? I think this could be the opportunity. And yeah, Vinicius. I mean, I love the fact that I said what I said, and then Benzema came out and got caught being a bit.
Yeah, you've teamed up with Benzema. Yeah. You're bullying Vinicius.
I'm not being funny.
You're just a big bully.
Why? Do you really think that he's not? You'd rather have him starting than Dybala? I don't believe that for 1 second. I think Dybala is a proven goal scorer. I'm talking over 15 goals a season. Vinicius, oh goodness me.
They kind of play different. They kind of play different positions, but I don't know. I
agree with you. I agree with you. They do play slightly different positions, but I still, if Hazard, let's say, starts to show some of his form again. He scored that great goal the other day. If he can start to get some form, I think that's more exciting. They need some big. Real Madrid needs some big names at the moment. They're lacking some real kind of influential firepower, and I don't think they're carrying that gravitas, which is really worrying other teams at the moment necessarily. And I think Dybala is the kind of signing, if they could get him in a swap deal and a clever deal which doesn't cost them a bomb, I think that'd be a great addition. Like I said, I think Isco, time's running out for him, and I think he's replaceable in that side.